It was a cold evening. The kind of cold that slips through your clothes and settles deep inside your bones. A man sat quietly on a broken bench outside a small subway station, holding half of a sandwich. Not for himself, for his daughter. But just as he was about to take a bite, a soft, trembling voice stopped him. "I'm hungry." He looked up. A little girl stood in front of him, dirty shoes, expensive dress, tear-filled eyes. And without knowing who she was, he gave her everything. That single moment would change his life forever. Daniel Carter was a single father. 34 years old, tired eyes, rough hands, a heart that had been broken too many times. His wife had passed away 3 years ago in a sudden illness. Since then, life had been a constant fight. Every day was survival. He worked 2 jobs. Morning, construction. Night, cleaning offices. And still, it wasn't enough. His daughter, Lily, was only 6 years old. She smiled often, but Daniel knew she was learning to live without things other kids had. No toys, no fancy clothes, sometimes not even enough food. That day had been especially hard. Daniel had just been told his construction job was ending. "No more work next week," the supervisor said casually. Just like that. No warning, no backup plan. Daniel didn't argue. He just nodded. Because when life hits you enough times, you stop reacting. That evening, Daniel sat outside the subway. In his hand, a simple sandwich. It was all he could afford after paying rent and buying milk for Lily. He hadn't eaten since morning. His stomach hurt, but he smiled. "This is for Lily," he whispered to himself. Then, "I'm hungry." The voice came again, soft, weak. Daniel looked up. A little girl stood there. Maybe 7 years old. Her dress was beautiful, but dirty. Her hair messy. Her eyes full of fear. "Are you alone?" Daniel asked gently. The girl nodded. I got lost." Her voice shook. Daniel's heart tightened. He looked at the sandwich. Then at the girl. Then back at the sandwich. He didn't hesitate. He broke it in half, then paused. No, that didn't feel right. He handed her the whole sandwich. "Here, eat." The girl looked at him, surprised. "But, what about you?" Daniel smiled softly. "I already ate." It was a lie, but a kind one. The girl sat beside him. She ate slowly at first, then faster. Like she hadn't eaten all day. "What's your name?" Daniel asked. "Sophia." "I'm Daniel." She nodded. "Thank you, Daniel." No one had said his name like that in a long time. Minutes passed. The cold wind blew harder. Daniel took off his worn jacket and wrapped it around her. "You'll catch a cold," he said. "But you." "I'm fine." Another lie. Something felt strange. Sophia's clothes were too expensive. Her shoes alone probably cost more than Daniel's monthly rent. "Where are your parents?" he asked. "I don't know. I was in the car, then I got scared, and ran." Daniel frowned. This didn't feel like a normal situation. Suddenly, black SUVs rushed past the street. Men in suits, searching, looking around. Daniel's instincts kicked in. Something big was happening. One of the men shouted, "Check everywhere. She must be here." Daniel looked at Sophia. Her face turned pale. "They're looking for me," she whispered. Daniel didn't know who these people were. But fear in a child's eyes. That he understood. "Stay behind me," he said quietly. Sophia grabbed his arm. The men approached. "Have you seen a little girl?" one asked. Daniel hesitated, then shook his head. "No." Sophia stayed hidden behind him. His heart was racing. Why was he protecting her? He didn't even know her. But something inside him said she needed help. The men left. But not for long. More cars arrived. Sirens. Security everywhere. Then, a tall man stepped out of the main car. Sharp suit. Cold eyes. Power in his presence. Sophia froze. "That's my father." The man was Victor Hale. One of the richest businessmen in the country. A billionaire. Powerful. Feared. And right now, furious. Victor walked toward them. His eyes locked on Daniel. "Where is she?" Daniel stayed calm. "Who?" Victor's voice turned cold. "My daughter." Silence. Then, Sophia stepped out. "Daddy." Victor's expression changed instantly. Relief. Then anger. He rushed to her. "Sophia, do you have any idea?" She hugged him tightly. "I was scared." Victor softened. For a moment. Then his eyes moved to Daniel. Suspicion returned. "You," he said sharply. What did you do? Daniel frowned. I helped her. Victor scoffed. Helped. Or took advantage. Those words hit hard. Daniel clenched his fists. I gave her food. That's all. Victor looked at the empty sandwich wrapper. Then at Daniel's worn clothes. He pulled out his wallet. Threw cash at him. Here. For your help. The money fell to the ground. Daniel didn't pick it up. His voice was quiet. I didn't do it for money. Sophia looked at her father. He gave me his food. Victor paused. For the first time. Uncertain. Sophia continued. And his jacket, he said he wasn't cold, but he was. Victor looked again. Really looked this time. Daniel's hands were shaking from the cold. His clothes thin. His eyes tired. Something shifted inside Victor. A man used to buying loyalty. Was seeing something money couldn't buy. Kindness. Real kindness. Why? Victor asked quietly. Daniel looked confused. Why help her? Daniel shrugged slightly. She was hungry. Simple. No big speech. No expectation. Just truth. Sophia held Daniel's hand. Can we help him, Daddy? Victor looked at Daniel. Then at his daughter. Then at the empty sandwich wrapper. A small moment. That carried weight. Victor spoke slowly. What do you do? Anything I can. Good. Victor turned to his assistant. Find him a job. Daniel shook his head. I don't want charity. Victor smirked slightly. It's not charity. It's opportunity. Daniel hesitated. His pride, his struggle, his daughter. Everything collided inside him. Then he thought of Lily. Her smile. Her empty lunchbox yesterday. He exhaled slowly. Okay. Weeks passed. Daniel started working at Victor's company. At first, simple tasks. But Daniel worked hard. Harder than anyone. People noticed. He wasn't just strong. He was honest, respectful, reliable. Slowly, he rose. One evening, Daniel brought Lily to the office. Sophia saw her. Hi. The two girls became friends instantly. Laughter filled the room. Something Daniel hadn't heard in a long time. Victor watched from a distance. Then said quietly, you didn't just help my daughter that day. Daniel looked at him. Victor continued, you reminded me what kind of man I used to be. Silence. Then, thank you. Months later. Daniel wasn't rich, but he wasn't struggling anymore. Lily smiled more, laughed more. A life rebuilt. From one small act of kindness. Sometimes. The smallest act, given at the hardest moment, can change everything. Not just for others, but for you too. Because kindness never returns empty. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, heart, comment your thoughts, crying, and subscribe for more powerful emotional stories. Sparkles.